Hey, good evening. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. For those of you in Ontario who are experiencing all of the snow and the blizzard, I hope you guys are doing okay. I know some friends have been out of power and such, but I'm here in Alliston and I'm just, praising God. No snow here. It's been absolutely, we still have green grass, so I'm just enjoying the not having snow. But I've just been contemplating. I want to do some prophetic ministry tonight. So that was, the kind of my main heart. Want to just prophesy over a few people, but also just to share, I've just have some things that have been kind of percolating inside of me for like the last month, and God is just like really. You can feel there's so much shift and there's so much transition, especially those of you who are involved in the prophetic movement and you're connected beyond the local church, but just into like other prophetic streams and what is going on. There's so much shift and there's so much transition, and there's even a sense of like tension and just a lot of things have been happening. And I don't want to get into political things or opinions or anything like that, but it's just, I've been meditating on this, like, what is this shift and what is this transition? Hello, Julie and August. What is happening in the prophetic movement? And I've just been like, the leader of the prophet nest that I'm part of, she just said, just ask God, like, what is he doing? What is he doing? Like, there's so much upheaval and shift and transition, but God is doing something. So often we can see what the enemy is doing, and we can see, especially if the enemy overplays his hands or we see things in the negative light, but we don't want to focus on that. We want to say, okay, God, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I really, I've been asking God, okay, like, where are we? We want to locate ourselves like in scripture. And, the scriptures, there's patterns and blueprints and stuff in here, and it's just like, okay, God, what is happening? And I really have felt drawn to the last, and I may have even mentioned this last week on my Facebook Live, but that last part of First Kings, I believe it's 22, and that transition into the Second Kings. And in this, we also see the transition. So there's the story of Micaiah there, but then there's also this transition between Elijah, the demonstration prophet. Elijah's the prophet of fire. Elijah is, this brave, courageous, maybe a little bit of a loner, doesn't really have community. He feels like he's the only one. But I was just reading this morning about the showdown with the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel. So Elijah is this fiery, presence, this personality. He's known in the nation. He's just a powerful man of God and is known as a prophet. We see signs and wonders. He's a demonstration prophet. He, there's miraculous things. He raises someone from the dead. Even God sends the ravens to feed him. So just this incredible man, but he's a lone ranger. And he is the prophet, and he thinks he is the only prophet, even though he is not. But we're in this transition point. So I feel like God is saying the transition from the Elijahs to the Elishas. And so this is the transition point. What Elisha made Elijah a spiritual father. So Elijah was on his own. Jezebel threatened him. He's running for his life. And he is just like, I can't do this anymore. There's insecurity, there's fear, there's intimidation, all of these things, But then Elisha, he says, okay, go anoint Elisha, throw your mantle on him and train him up. He is going to be your replacement. And so this is where Elijah, for the first time has to become a true spiritual father. He was powerful. He had a gift. He had the fire of God. God spoke to him. God encountered him in powerful ways. But he wasn't yet a father. And so this is what God is shifting us into, spiritual, true. It's away from just demonstration into replication, duplication, and raising up of the sons and daughters. And so that means a raising up, it's time for the Elishas, those who have been, preparing, have been serving, have been getting ready, have been in training, for so long, to rise up and to take their place, because we're stepping into a time of multiplication and advancement. And so it is so exciting. But, guys, transition is never easy and it's not comfortable. But Elisha, so Elisha served Elijah for 7 years. And in that time, he gave himself. He burned his oxen in the plow, and he could not look back. So he gave himself wholly to studying and serving and learning what he needed to learn to be able to carry the mantle that God had positioned, him to be able to pick up. And so there's this transition. Okay, so, and I really felt like Elijah, though, we honor, and I think I'd love to meet Elijah, in heaven, and just like the fire that he carried and the passion and just the boldness and courage, where he had just that like faith in God, where he could call, it was like I think it was 450 prophets of Baal, 400 prophets of Ashtoreth, and he calls them all together. And, even in that act where he's like having the servants like pour the buckets of water on the offering, where on the top of the mountain, like the sacrifice, and he's pouring the water on, is like, because he knows that his God is going to show up. He is this prophet of fire, and he knows that God is going to show up with fire, and he's going to meet him, because this God who even shut up the heavens at his word, and so he has this confidence, this confidence in his walk with God, and he knows God's going to show up. And so this is all, it's so good. It's so beautiful. And I love the Elijahs, and we honor the Elijahs, and we honor our spiritual moms and dads, and we honor the superstars of the last season, even those who were the celebrity prophets and the ones who've gone before. And we just thank them for like plowing the way and going forward. But now we are transitioning away from for all Elijah's strength and power, he had some fear and insecurity and intimidation from Jezebel, because he wasn't in company and he wasn't in family, and he didn't have those ones beside him who could help him and support him. He didn't have, the strength of family and spiritual children around him. So this is what God is shifting, so thank you for the pioneers, like in the fire that they carry, and going first before us. So now it's time for the Elishas. And the Elishas, God is shifting the Elishas, and there's such a move. And I see a lot of you guys on. I just want to say hello to a bunch of you. Hello, Julie Sondergaard, Sherry Normore, Joyce Truman, Nicole Carson, Diane Wallace, Cassidy Mikula, Larry Kozak, and Julianne. I already said hello. Good to see you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. So who's been feeling this? Like, some of you guys I know are super prophetic. Nicole's dropping the fire emojis. We can feel the tension. We can feel the shift. We can tell, a lot of us, whether you're, in the prophetic stream or not, a lot of us have been moving. We've been finding ourselves in a place of like stepping backwards, in a place of redirection, as God has been bringing us into a place of realignment, and there's been some pretty massive shifts and realignments in anyone's life. How many of you guys can agree? Have you been through like some shifts and realignment, like relationally, maybe even geographically, or just in where you've been ministering, where you've been going to church, anything like that? Diane saying big time. So lots of realignment, there's been such a needfulness in this season for us to really be able to quiet ourselves, quiet our own ideas, quiet our own thoughts, our ways of doing things, the strategies of the past season for moving forward. We've really needed to just like lay those down and find ourselves in this place of like quietness, because for a lot of us, we were headed on, and God gave me this picture where we were headed in a certain direction, and God, a lot of us, God had sent us in directions that you were in obedience. He had called you, and that was for the time in the season. You did well. He says, well done. You listened. But, sometimes when God sends us in one direction, we can just run so fast and furious that we don't take the moments to pause and listen to see if he's giving us a redirection or a course correction. And so this last month and a half has been a real time of redirection and course correction, because in the running full speed ahead, the ways I see, it's like the roads that we were on, I could see that they're actually becoming narrower and narrower, and God is actually pulled us back a little bit. It's like the pulling back of the slingshot so that we can be launched farther. So there's been a pulling back in a redirection. And so he's removed you out of that which was becoming a narrow place, and he's bringing you out into that which is going to open up and be broad and spacious. And there's room for expansion and advancement and multiplication and all of these things, and so it's really beautiful, but it's like we've had to be in this sweet spot of listening to Jesus. We've had to be in the sweet spot of listening for his voice. Have you been able to hear the corrective word of God? Have you been able to allow the Lord to bring the sword of the word to you? And to cut what needs to be cut, to cut off what needs to be cut, to unhook you from the things of the past that you've been tied to. Because he's been unhooking us, he's been refining us, he's been cutting off things in us of unhealth so that we can leave them behind and move into the new. And this is the transition, and so we're transitioning into this new time. And, so like, it's like, it's exciting, but it's scary all at the same time. Just like you ones watching who are mamas in the natural, you understand what it is like to be of full term gestation and ready to give birth. And though it is beautiful and what's coming forth is so exciting, your legacy, your children, that next generation, but there's also the fear and trembling that comes when the labor pains are among you and you're about to give birth. And so we find ourselves even in that place of like fear and trembling where the next is about to come forth and is being birthed. And so there is that, there is the pain of the transition. There's the pain of the contractions. There's the pain of what is being pushed out. There's the pain of I just see like the wineskin, the wineskin that was flat, that was stiff and unbendable. It's like I can see God holding it in his hand and softening it. And I just see this like almost like this rapid movement of the hands of God where he's taking that which was stiff and inflexible and he's bending it and he's bending it and he's moving you and shifting you to get you into that place so that you will not burst open at the seams when the new wine is being poured out. Yeah. Oh, but he's shifting us into this place where it's not just about being the voice. It's not just about releasing the word. It's not just about being the superstar, but it is about the equipping. It is about the sending. It is about the raising up. It is about the birthing. It is about the legacy, and even, Elijah, even the destiny, he's called to take out Jezebel, but he couldn't take him out in his lifetime. He had to raise up Elijah, who anointed an unnamed prophet, who anointed King Jehu, and then she was taken out, and even his legacy, sometimes we have these legacies and we think like, oh, hey, God, I want my destiny. I just want my destiny. I want to fulfill it. God gave me this word about raising up 1,000 prophets. And so I got this was a couple of years ago. It was before I started my first year of the Emerging Prophet School. And it was like, yeah, I'm going to raise up 1,000 prophets. Yeah, I want to see 1,000 prophets raised up here in Ontario. You get so excited. It's like, yes, I have this destiny and it's so amazing. But you know what? I can't raise up 1,000 prophets on my own. And just like Elisha had a destiny that took Elijah had a destiny that took an Elisha to raise up others to help fulfill it. So many of us were carrying these big dreams and these words and these prophetic promises that can only be fulfilled as we step in and we raise up, as we become the Elishas, as we move out of the place of, how do I say this? How do I say this nicely? We have to stop coveting the limelight and coveting that superstar status and coveting that place where it's like, yes, everybody will know me and they'll know my voice and I will be known as the prophet and where it's like wanting to be put up and having this like celebrity kind of status, because that's not what God is after. What happens when we get those places of celebrity and high elevation where we get lifted up above other people, above our peers, usually there's pride involved, pride or insecurity, and so God is wanting to, instead of having, a bunch of insecure superstars who feel like they need to protect their position because they need to be known as the expert or the voice or the one who is in the know, like God is saying, no, let's put that away. No more insecure leaders, because no more insecure leaders, no more pride in the way that we lead, no more pushing others down so that we can advance, no more, laying a ceiling over others so that we advance on the heads of others or on the backs of people. But no, it is about us being in security, stepping in as true spiritual mothers and fathers and raising up those others. God is raising up the Elishas. In the days of Elisha he did not come in as a lone ranger, as a, lone voice, but he came in as a servant. He came and he served the generation before. He came and he served, and he built relational equity for 7 years with Elijah, and he proved his faithfulness, and he learned, and he poured water on his hands, and he took that low, humble spot. And because he did, and he learned, as he served Elijah, he developed all these skills, and then he was ready and able to take that mantle. And when Elisha says, as Elijah is about to be taken up, when he asks for that double portion, it's not just about, sometimes we think like, oh, double, give me double. I want twice as much as you. It's not just about, I want more than you. I want to operate in greatness. It's that double portion. The larger portion of inheritance was always given to the firstborn child. And Elisha had that security in his relationship with his spiritual father, where he knew that he had the right of the firstborn child. And so that's what he was asking for spiritually, was a spiritual portion of his inheritance as the firstborn. And Elijah said that is a hard thing, but he got it. He got it. He stayed faithful to the end, and he was given that mantle to the next generation. And so here we are. We are moving into these days, guys. We're moving into these days. So no longer should we be hungering and lusting after, being the one who is the voice and is known as the voice, and everybody honors them as the voice, and everybody seeks them for their word. It's not about that, but it is about not just the demonstration, though we do demonstrate and we always need to demonstrate, but it is not just about the demonstration. It's not just about the prophetic, the releasing of the voice, but it's an apostolic shift that takes the demonstration and brings in that duplication, that replication, because the apostolic is all about the sending. It's about the equipping. It's about raising up the sons and daughters so that they can be sent and they can go with the grace and to advance the kingdom. And guys, this is the part of God is raising up a true apostolic, not just in name, name only, but in true demonstration, those who are secure as mothers and fathers and who can love on and nurture and see the potential in the next generation and can advance them forward and can lead them out and give them grace to step out, and who are those secure spiritual parents who can love them, raising prophets, emerging prophets. Like we make messes as we go, as we're learning, as we're growing. You are going to make a mess as you rise, as you step out, because guys, we don't have a manual. We don't have a step-by-step plan. It's just like raising children. Like parents don't get a manual for how to raise their children. And so it is with us as we step out and we raise up these ones, and so we need to be those true, ones who can nurture and love the next generation, even in their messiness and even in their, even as they're going to stumble and fall and make things difficult, but we need to honor them and celebrate them in their bold risk taking and be able to advance them, because it is not the time. It is not the time to say to people, you don't measure up and you're not good enough and you haven't reached this. No, it is the time for us to enter like little children and to take hold of the kingdom, and to come in with that faith like a child, that even though maybe you haven't flowed with the Spirit in the way that you see others, or you haven't seen the signs and wonders, but it's the childlike faith that takes the Bible, that takes the Word of God and says like, okay, this is the reality and I'm going to build my theology on what it says in here. I'm not going to live my life and raise others based on my experience and the limitations of the life that I have walked. But I am going to say that if God said it in his word, then it's true and I can step into it. Yeah. And so I saw this beautiful mix of the prophetic and the apostolic coming together in this hour. And this is the new movement. This is the new, it's a coming together of the two. Elijah was more prophetic prophet. And even though Elisha was also a prophet and did signs and wonders, he also had that apostolic edge where he was able to equip and to send out. We see he sent out the unnamed prophet to anoint Jehu. And so this is what God is. This is the restoration of the fivefold. It doesn't just mean that, once we were called pastors and now we call ourselves apostles because, God is restoring the fivefold. It's not in name only. It's in grace. It's in grace. And Ephesians talks about, the apostles and the prophets coming together to lay the foundation of the church. And yes, Cassidy, new beginnings. This is a new beginning and it's an exciting time. And so guys, you have felt the squeeze of the olive press in this last few years. You have been hard pressed on every side. You have been struck down. You have been crushed to the point where you almost felt like you would be destroyed. But God has stepped in and he has preserved you. And all of these things that came against you, all of the things that, some of the things came against you out of injustice. Some of them came because of your own mistakes and your own immaturity. Some of these things, whatever came against you, God just allowed things to be unrestrained in your life and even sometimes against you because he wanted to refine you, because he wanted to take you to the next level, because these years have been the time of your greatest maturing and your greatest advancement and your greatest strengthening and your greatest empowering. And the Lord is saying to you that you are ready to go and to step into the new thing. He is calling for the spiritual mums and dads to rise up and to take their place and not to just wait until you have some specific position where you are recognized by man, but to go when the Lord says to go and to step forward. And, each and every one of us, you should be looking around and saying, okay, what is my legacy? What is my legacy? How am I duplicating? How am I, replicating what God has given me? And for some of you women on here, guys too, but I see a lot of women. I know there's a lot of mamas watching. A lot of you guys have the privilege in this season, and this isn't just the limitation of it, but part of that replicating and duplicating is the way that you're bringing kingdom into your home and the way that you are just so laying those solid foundations for your children so that they can carry that spiritual baton and take it out. So I just bless you. It just bless you to just, to embrace whatever season you're in, but just to know that God is he's taken all the pain and all the things that came against you and all the hardship, it's time for us to divorce ourselves once and all from the spirit of offense. And so I will put that out there. That's another thing he's been doing. So if you haven't divorced yourself from the spirit of offense, maybe as a prophetic act, when I finish with this call, go get a pen and paper and write a certificate of divorce to the spirit of offense. Because there is a spirit of offense that tries to keep you stuck in the pain of the past. And for some of you, you've just been thinking like, I've forgiven. I just keep forgiving. I've forgiven them hundreds of times, 70 times, 7 times, 70 times. And you've done the things, but there has been that spirit of offense that has been harassing you and has been just trying to get you to take the bait. It's just been like that dangling carrot, just trying to get you to take in. It's almost felt like a tormenting thing in your mind. But just write your certificate of divorce. Repent for any of your partnership with the spirit of offense and wave goodbye. Not see you later. Sayonara. To leave and not return. And this is what we need to do. because there's beauty in the pain of the past and things that God has allowed for your acceleration, for your promotion. But if you're stuck back in there and pointing your fingers at people and engaged in that flesh and blood battle, not realizing the nature of the spiritual warfare that you're in, you aren't going to be able to move forward. Yeah. So no more insecure superstars. Yeah. No more insecure superstars, but humble sons and daughters, humble equippers. You know, the thing with insecurity is when you have a position and you're insecure and you feel like someone's going to take it away from you, or that someone, then you look at your brothers and sisters in Christ and you look at them as competition. And so you want to you just don't let them too close, or you keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, because you just never know. Like, you're in this place of insecurity and skepticism, and, you feel like you're not feeling like a true son and daughter. So you have that lack mindset. So you think that someone else's success means that there's going to be less success for you, but that's not the way that the kingdom works, and so no more, in insecurity, you will constantly be looking for the speck in other people's eyes, not seeing the log in your own, and you will be nitpicking and looking for things so that you can denounce other people and make them look bad so that you can feel better about yourself. All of these things need to be put behind us. These are not becoming of leaders, and God is not going to tolerate this in spiritual mums and dads, because as we are, that is what we're going to duplicate in our children, and He's calling us up to a higher standard of purity and excellence. And so we got to move away from that insecurity and into this place of, I am so loved and accepted in Him. Do you know that you are so loved and accepted in Him right now? Even if you have had your worst, most awful day, even if you yelled at your kids and kicked the cat and, broke the dishes or whatever you did, even if you had your little toddler temper tantrum, and just are feeling so much, feeling so down on yourself, even in this moment, on your worst hormonal day, you're so loved and accepted. And there's nothing that you can do to make yourself be more loved or more accepted, but that needs to settle. That needs to settle in. You need to know you're so accepted, but it's not like you don't have, and when you know you're accepted, you move and you work and you minister out of that place of acceptance, and you don't do it for acceptance because you're insecure and don't know that you're loved and have value, and so we got to get this works mentality out of us, and it comes by being so settled in Him. It's such a beautiful place to feel settled. And it's like, until you get free, and we're all in a journey, we're all in a process. None of us have arrived. I'm not saying that I have arrived. I'm on a journey. But it's like you don't understand how much you have been bound until you get a new level of freedom. And then you have the privilege of looking back and you realize just how bound up you were, and you just thank God. And what it does not cause shame, because shame is not of the kingdom, but that's where this true godly humility is able to come in. That humility that knows, okay, I'm a son and a daughter. That humility that knows that though there is greatness inside of you, it is not of yourself, but it is because Christ is inside of you. And it's a humility that is not insecure. It's not the false humility that we see here in our Canadian culture. It's not political correctness. It's not shame. It's not like I put myself down so that, you can feel better. No, true humility is in confidence. It's confidence. So rise up, sons and daughters, rise up in confidence, rise up knowing who you are, because you need to become a son and a daughter first. Some of you guys still think you're serving. You're still living in that place. Like, you just want to please God. You just want to, and it comes from a good place. Like, you're so grateful for what Jesus did to you. And yes, we want to give our whole lives to Him, but He is not just looking for servants. He's not just looking for your works. He's not just looking for you to grovel at His feet, but He is looking for the sons and the daughters who know that they are in the family and they have relationship, and they can say, hey, Dad, I have a need. Can you write me a check for this? Or can you, that place of family, that place of security, that place, yeah, that knows you have all of his attention and all of his affection. Because that is what he wants replicated. Because Elisha, it's about the replication, the duplication, the expansion, the sending. He is wanting to increase our authority and to advance the kingdom. And so what do we do first? Get yourself in a place, get yourself in community and family, get connected with spiritual mothers and fathers if you don't have them already. Because, you got to learn to be a son or a daughter before you can raise up sons or daughters. So Elisha didn't just go out on his own, but he came under Elijah, and he was trained, he served, he became a son. He took the mantle. So we need to come under authority, we need to be trained, but then we get so secure in who we are and we raise up the sons and daughters, because secure parents, they're not intimidated by their children. They don't put lids over them. They don't say, oh, they're there this far and no more. They say, no, go farther, go beyond me, advance, take the kingdom, go faster, go farther. They just champion them and they cheer them on. It's not about limitation. It's not about like, oh, I want you to only do this much because it takes away from what I can do. It's no, the kingdom is infinite, and the destiny, the destiny that Will has over in Oregon doesn't take away from the destiny that I have here in Ontario. Because we both have kingdom destiny. And so we just cheer each other on and we say, go, just go. And even here in Ontario, I talked about, getting a word about raising up 1,000 prophets here. I can't do that by myself. I need other leaders to come alongside of me. I need my spiritual children to rise up and find their voice and find their place and to take the baton of this legacy to advance the kingdom. And this is what it is. The legacy, it's not about you and what you can do for the kingdom, but it is the privilege of playing your part in this timeline where God, God is outside of time, but it's like he has these kingdom destinies that are just going down through generations, and he's giving you place. It's like a relay race. So take up your baton and get ready to go and run. Pick up that baton and run. And don't hinder anyone else from running their race. And don't look with that critical eye. I know there's people who watch, Facebook Lives, similar like the ones that I do, and they're looking with a critical eye to see like, oh, is someone theologically off? Are their motives off? Are they, what's their glitch? Where can I point a finger? Sometimes we look with that kind of critical attitude. Forget Facebook Lives, even Sunday morning when you go to church tomorrow, like, is it looking at, the pastors and the leaders and the people who are doing the tithe messages and all that, and having that attitude of like, oh, they could have done this better, or this, like, what is your heart posture? It's like, no, celebrate that they're going for it. Celebrate that they're coming out and they're stepping up and they're taking their place. And don't be so like the superstar who is insecure and protect their position, but be a true mother and father who is raising up other ones and is actually working themselves out of a job. Because you want to get your sons and daughters. Hey, parents, you hear me? I'm not a parent in the natural, but it's like as much as you take these babies and you raise them and you're their everything and they can't survive without you, you got to get them to the place of maturity where they can actually survive without you and not need you anymore. And so it is spiritually and in the body of Christ. I run my prophetic mentorship group and the Emerging Prophet School, but the goal in it isn't just so that I can always be the teacher and my students can always be the pupils and I will be above and they will be under. The goal is to raise them up so that they can find their place in their voice and they can step into their destiny. And actually, honestly, I hope that some of my students will find their voice quite quickly and will start taking their place at a more accelerated pace, because I'm looking forward to having some of my spiritual sons and daughters come and do Facebook Lives and prophesy with me and to start doing teaching with me and to be able to do equipping so that we can expand and advance and we can spread the kingdom at an accelerated rate. This is my heart. And then maybe I can pass the things that God has given me to do, can pass them on to the next and to step into the new thing. Yeah. This is what it is. It's a transition. It's a transition point. So wherever you see yourself, you know what? And Diane, thanks for your comments. Great vision. You know, and that is the vision. That's what the apostolic vision needs to be about. It's not about you and your ministry. It's not about me and my ministry. It's about what? Wisdom is known by, you know, her fruit, by her children. Wisdom is known by her children. So, you know, it's the fruit. What is the fruit of your life? Who are your children? What are you producing? What are you duplicating? What is the sign that you're advancing the kingdom? It's not how many likes or followers or, you know, that you get on Instagram or Facebook. It's not about that. But where are your children? What is your destiny? And how are you advancing the kingdom? All right, that was a lot of fire. Guys, thanks so much. Marlene Hood, thank you so much for joining in. Really appreciate you. Marlene Hood, Michelle Lee, Amber Sheets, Joanne Forget. Guys, I'll release a few personal prophetic words. So if you haven't commented for a little while, just drop me a comment so I know you're still here, and I'll see who Holy Spirit is highlighting. Okay, Will Noodle, good to see you. Sydney Smith-Berry, Barb Raymond. Awesome. Ron King, hello. Louise Lee. Debbie Shannon. Lorraine King, hello. All right, sorry, I got a little close there. I just got a little more comfortable on my chair. All right. I am going to prophesy over, I don't know, Nicole Carson, you're just always. Nicole, I don't know, maybe you're just always highlighted to me because you know what? You carry this. Yeah, and Nicole, you are that. You are an Elisha. And man, Nicole, like, not only are you taking that spiritual baton and taking that which was from your generation, but you are picking up many spiritual batons. And God so trusts you. He just so trusts you to steward. And it's like, I see you having this ability. You're going to be like, you're equipping so many different people in so many different ways. And even though I do think there will be some level of like formal equipping for you, but I actually see like a really informal kind of equipping that happens, and even just relationally, because it just oozes like the wisdom and the knowledge of God. It just like oozes into you. And so it's like, I see you relationally just giving people keys that they need to unlock them to step into the next level of their breakthrough. And it's like God is giving you such a grace and ability to see people, to discern where they're at in their life, in their heart, in their soul, in their spiritual walk, and to have like this individuated kind of like response to different people. So it's not like, you don't treat everybody the same, you don't like hand out the same, but it's like you understand what different people need, and it's like you're able to show up in different ways to different people. And so it's like in some cases, you know where you need to show up as the prophet and give that sharp, you know, fiery word, even though there's honey, you know, sharp but with honey on it, because you do carry a lot of honey. But then also areas where you know where you need to show up as the evangelist, other areas where you're actually showing up as the healer. I see like a lot of healing just oozing out of you. Like I see that oil of the like healing anointing, and people really encountering both physical and heart healing as they come into your presence. And I just see, I see you loving people back to life. I see you understanding where, you know, seeing where people need the grace of the pastor, and you having that mama's heart and the ability to just love them in that way. And then I also see you like understanding like where people need the tough love. And so it's like, it's just this ability to understanding, and you have such a sharp gift of discernment. And I see that it's getting sharper and sharper, and you're so, I just feel like to just admonish you, continue to go with your gut, because your gut does not, you know, your gut has led you. It has led you in the right path. It's led you in the right direction. is one of the really main ways that you're actually hearing from God. It's like, you know that you know that you know. And so I just see you like really just following your discernment and you being able to sift, like you're going to get to a place, like in the next like 6 months to a year, it's like, I see you getting to a place. I think there's a certain level of like promotion that's going to come to you and a specific leadership role, like, cause you have so much favor on you. And it's like, as you're, as this is opening up to you and you start to step into it and start up, to go up other levels and become more like in the eye of people, there's going to be certain people who will want to like rub shoulders with you and get closer and then, kind of vie for those inner circle positions. But I just see like set the guard around your inner circle. And I see God has really been sharpening your discernment so that it's like, you know who is safe and who is not safe. And so I really just I see God like building like this fortress around you. It's like a fortress around your inner circle so that those who do not have the best intentions, or even those who might want to just get close to you because of your gifting or your strength or what they can get from you, that they're forced to stay at a distance. It doesn't mean that they don't have a certain space or place in your life, but it's not in that core inner circle where, you need to have only strong leaders and people who are like-minded and are only gonna like really encourage you on and spur you on. Yeah. And I actually see you, Nicole, being, I see, because you have this like you're so relationally safe and you're so, it's like your sense of humor and like people just like so warm up to you. And it's like, I actually see God being able to get you in nice and close to some like insecure leaders, and in nice and close. And it's not that you judge them like, oh, they're insecure, but it's like, you can just see, like you have the eyes to see the glitches and the weaknesses. But it's like, I actually see God undercover, like kind of bringing you in and giving you favor and giving you their ear, and you actually being able to come up and to help them to work on some of those areas of like undercover, like they don't know what you're doing, but it's the way that you love them. It's the way that you serve. It's your words of wisdom at the right time and just helping them to like you strengthen, you come alongside. And because you are strength, you embody strength. And so you're just someone who lends strength. And so it's like, I see you coming in, lending strength to people and really them being able to rise up to the next level, because, you were able to like lovingly help them with some of their glitches and some of their like blind spots. So I just bless you with that. Bless you. All right. Yes, Chris, choose your people very carefully. Yeah. Hello, Josie Lavoy, Ripsimi. Good to see you guys. All right, who is God highlighting next? I'm just scrolling here. Okay, Julianne, you're still here and you were the first one on. So I'm gonna prophesy over you. It's been a little while. Julianne, I just see victory written all over this coming year, 2025. It's like I can just see this big. It's just victory. And it's like God has removed, I see it's like he's removed these labels that others have put on you. Like labels that others have put on you to limit you, and a lot of them are like religious kind of like labels. And it's just like I see just where he's just removing them. It's like he's just removed all these and he's writing the new name. And I just see that like victory over you. And there's gonna be breakthrough in areas that you thought it seemed impossible for the breakthrough to come. And I just see God saying like, there's these moments of there's some stand still and see the salvation of the Lord kind of moments. And so I just see it's like he's so fiercely fighting for you. And And I just see like so much honor. I just see so much honor being bestowed on you because of your faithfulness over the years for so long, and just being that steadfast and faithful and consistent in honor, even in places where people were very dishonoring to you, or even places where there wasn't space given to you, where, you know, where your voice wasn't valued. And sometimes it wasn't valued. I can actually see where sometimes your voice wasn't valued, and it's like the people who were like, it's like they knew that you were right. They knew that you had wisdom. They knew, but it was that thing of the insecure leaders where they couldn't, you know, they couldn't receive the wisdom and the vision that you had, because it would seem to like take away from their position, where, you know, they would want to be the ones to bring the answers and the blueprints and the breakthrough. But I just see that God is like, he's allowing you to be the steward of the vision. He's giving the blueprints to you. He's not giving them to certain other people. And it's like, so I just see you with like blueprints, like your arms are just so full of them. And this is just such a season of, you know, some of them are for you. They're things that you're going to like roll out and you're going to step into. But very similar to what I was saying with Nicole, where she's going to give people, you know, the keys that they need for their breakthrough. It's like you are a strategist, and you are going to help them and release some of these kingdom strategies that God is giving you. And it's just, I see just such a clarity in your ability to hear from God. There's like this sharpening, and it's like the frequency has just been tuned, and it's so sharp. And even though you've been hungering, you've been going after the prophetic, you've been releasing it, you know, even in covert ways, I just see this like this new force where, in this new release of like these words, and these words from heaven, prophetic, you know, insight, even these blueprints and these strategies, you know, where you can see the gifts and talents in certain people, and you know, like you know what they need to do to go to the next level. And so God is trusting you with this, because you can give these keys to people for them to get to the next level. And so it's like there's so much breakthrough in that. And I just see it's like I see God is unhooking you from, I see where you've been in this holding pattern, and kind of in like where things have been limited and have been kind of slow, and there's just been like, just where it's been just super slow, super measured, super like snail's pace. And I see him like unhooking you from that, and just allowing you, I just see you are unhooked, and I just release you into the new and into the accelerated quickening of your pace, where no longer are you going to be tied to things because of senses of loyalty or obligation, but you are going to be free as a bird, and you're going to fly into the things that God is releasing for you, and you're going to go to new heights, and you are going to soar. And because God is taking you up higher and higher and higher, because it's like you've stewarded the vision and you've stewarded the revelation. And so I just even saying, okay, let's go up higher, because I'm going to give you this bird's eye view, this picture. And so there's an acceleration, and it's just like, I just see it like a revolving door, it's just spinning around. It's spinning around. It's spinning around. It's spinning around. And because where it's been slow before, which has limited your capacity and the amount of your outflow, it's been that slow measure. Now there's that quickening, and it's just going to be released with such force. And there's so much grace that comes with it. Like there's so much grace to do so much more and be energized by it and not depleted. So yeah, I just bless you. Bless you, Julianne. Yeah. Yeah. You are stewarding the blueprints to many people's breakthrough. And yeah, this is a year of victory for you. Yeah. Awesome. That's a good word. I'm going to take that word for myself. That is a great word. If I do say so myself. Yeah, John Doyle, you agree. Awesome. From glory to glory. Yeah. Hallelujah. Oh, that's so fun. She says, I've been praying about frequency, Jenny. Come on, unhooking and breakthrough, stepping into freedom, acceleration, and grace. Yeah. So fun. Yeah. Time to fly like an eagle. Yeah. All right. I think I got one more in May. Michelle Lee. Michelle Lee, are you still in North Carolina? Yeah, Michelle. Man, yeah, your daddy just wants to give you like just a hug. Like, I just feel like just such a hug for you today. Such a, man. And I just hear him saying like, it's all going to be okay. It's all going to be okay. There's some things that seem like they're disheveled and there's some upheaval and, you know, maybe certain people around you have their knickers in a knot, so to speak. But I just see that the Lord is using even some of the like agitation and the things that are going on, and even, I don't know, it's just like, I feel like, you know, you have that ability to be like you have so much love and so much grace, and you pastor so well, and you're such a mama in the spirit. And so you have that like pastoral heart. So because of that, you know, you love so well, and you're so strengthened and strengthened in releasing the love of God. He's also allowing you to be a bit of the like the holy agitator in this season. And so I can see, I can just kind of see like, you know, some agitation around you where it's like you have been like the sandpaper on certain people's rough edges. And I just see, you know, you are the iron, and you are someone who is willing to sharpen iron. And I just see like, you know, like where you've held back, you have so much self-control, and you hold back, and you have so much grace, and you are the encourager. But, you know, I just feel like the Lord wants to just encourage you, like to just continue being that holy agitator, because he is not in a place, you know, this is not a time in a season where God is just wanting to say, there, stay how you are, you're doing fine. No, we're in a call up higher moment. We're in a place of maturity, of maturing. And so I think what you're feeling inside is just some of the, like, it's like you can see the kingdom potential in some of the people who are around you, and you have such a mama's heart. You want to see them step into the fullness of their potential. And so it's like, you know, I can see where you've stepped out and you've, you know, brought some of that like maybe correction or refinement, and it hasn't always been received super well. But I just feel this like, keep at it. Like just keep at it, and just, you know, continue to say the things that you have on your heart to say. And I just hear even how God said to Jeremiah when he was training him, like, Jeremiah, do not be afraid of their faces, but go where I send you and speak what I tell you to speak. And so I feel this almost like, go and say the things that you need to say, even if the response isn't necessarily, you know, as embracing and welcoming as you want. But just continue, like, you know, yeah, and you just see that he's allowing you to speak into others' lives, but like delicately. But I see, you know, I feel like there's going to be some times where it's even going to be a little bit less delicate, but like God is going to give you, give you the grace to, because you're all honey. You're like honey bear. You got the honey and all that. But he says, like, I'm giving you a bigger sword in this season. He says, I'll give you more honey too, but I'm giving you a bigger sword. And so you're used to just, I see like this little, and he's like, no, there's some bigger things that we need to cut off. And I trust you. And so I see him replacing the tools that he's giving you in this season and giving you that bigger sword. And so I just bless you to just continue, because you are really, you know, you're really someone who is able to love people in the midst of where they're at and be that safe place to speak in and to help them come up. And I just see that it's like, because you love so well, people are going to be receptive to you pointing out like blind spots and delicately speaking into the things that, you know, are highlighted to you. So yeah, I bless you with that. Just keep being you. And he is just so proud of you. And he's just like, yeah. I hope this word was just like a hug for you today, because I felt like that's what he wanted to give you. Yeah. Awesome. Well, this has been a lot of fun. So today is November 30th. If any of you guys have been sitting on the fence about joining the prophetic mentorship group, I had the $200 discount until the end of November, and this is the last day of the month. I've had a few new students join this month, but really excited. You know, we've had such great classes. This past week, we learned about prophesying, releasing atmosphere through our prophetic words. You know, prophecy is so much more than just the words that we say, but it's actually releasing people into their breakthrough. And so would love to have some new students join. So if you're sitting on the fence and would like to get a discount, send me a message. All right, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Love you guys.